John 2:18 and 19 says, "Then the Jews demanded of him, 'What miraculous sign can you show us to prove your authority to do all this?' And Jesus answered them and said, 'Destroy this temple and I will raise it again in 3 days.'" Well, if you're joining us in reading through the 60-day reading plan, today's reading is John 2:13 through 25, and I encourage you to read that passage. Well, it's interesting that we as human beings tend to want to have some kind of sign to verify a truth. This is true in a legal proceedings, classroom environment, and just in our daily interactions with other people. We tend not to believe those who aren't necessarily thinking the same way we are. I was watching and listening to some of the arguments that were being presented to the Senate over the Judge Kavanaugh proceedings. Senators were not interested in just the fact that somebody said something or believed something. On the other side, they wanted proof. Unfortunately, neither of the two sides could come together to determine what they would accept as proof. So both sides talked at each other rather than listening to each other. And both sides pronounced victory after the sessions were over. Well, those Jewish priests who were involved in the temple worship wanted to know on what authority Jesus was in cleansing the temple. So he gave them a prophecy of what would occur. If they destroyed him, he would display himself as rebuilt in 3 days. Now, the Jewish leaders assumed that he was talking about Herod's temple, where in reality he was speaking of himself. It's important that we listen to those around us, particularly in the case when we are having a conversation about someone's relationship with Christ. They'll tell you what it will take for them to believe what you are saying, and sometimes it will take a long time for them to realize the truth that you're presenting. But you must present that truth in a way that they will listen, even if it takes years to go down the road. Our responsibility is to tell others about Christ. It is God's responsibility to bring them to that relationship. We need not get upset when they do not believe us immediately. They don't believe Christ then, but we must pray for them that God will open their eyes and pick up their heart that they might become related to Christ.